In today's class, we will study the introduction of the medical statistics. This is the topic is in the BAMS third phase, and this is the 11th chapter in the research methodology and medical statistic topic. Now, first of all, we will study what is the definition of the medical statistic here. The medical statistic is the branch of statistic. It is one of the branch in the mathematics here. It is one of the statistic branch that deals with the collections, the data collections, organization, arranging the proper data, organization, presentation in the table or chart forms, and analysis using the mathematical formula, analyzing and interpretation, that is the result we are interpreting, and whatever the data we are collected, we are applying in the health related policies. This is the application of the health. And the medical data for clinical practice, where this medical statistic data we are using in the clinical practice, in the medical practice, as well as in the research and for the public health. This is the definition of the medical statistic. The simple meaning is that the medical statistic is one of the branch of the statistic. Here the main thing is the collection of the data and organization, presentation, analysis, interpretation and application is called as a medical statistic, where we are using this medical statistics data, that is the clinical practice, research and public health. Now we study the 3 points here after that. The first of all, objectives of the medical statistics and types of the medical statistic, as well as the scope and relevance of the medical statistics. These are the 3 points we will study in today's class. The first of all, in that today's class we will study the objectives. What is the aim and objective of the why we are studying the medical statistic as a medical students? Because to collect the accurate medical data and health related data, whatever it may be blood pressure or glucometer through GRPS, everything, whatever we are collecting to collect the accurate medical data, health related, we are using medical statistics. The second one is to organize, present in the table, chart and graph form, because the huge number of the data, much more data we are collecting, that is the easily understandable. The systematically we have to organize and present the data. That is the second objective of the medical statistic. The next one is summarize the large amount of data using the average measures, all the variations. It means the large data we have to gather and collect or make into summaries form. That is the third objective of the medical statistic. The next one is the mathematical formula and interpret the result, whatever it is, find through the scientific things. This is about the fourth objective. Next one, to compare the treatment. So whatever the treatment is going on while doing the trials, everything's treatment, drug and intervention. This is the next fifth one. Next sixth one, to support the evidence-based medicines, clinical decisions making. Because nowadays we cannot tell that each and everything that we are assuming that this drug is act like that. Instead of that, we have to tell that this drug is a evidence, it is there, that this drug is a scientific research evidence is there. That's why we are giving to the patients like that. We have to support this medical statistics helpful to support the evidence based clinical decision for the makings, for the selecting of the drugs to the patient. The next one, to predict the disease accuracy. So assuming, predicting the disease occurrence, as well as evaluate the health related occurrence, predict the disease occurrence as well as the health related programs. That is specifically in the rainy seasons, that is the dengue and malaria. These are the common diseases we are predicting by using the medical stats, because previously if you take the records, specifically August month, the more cases of the malaria and dengue it is there. Based on that, the medical statistics using, we can predict which diseases more in which month, like that, for occurrence, as well as to evaluate the health programs, to implement the health program. These are the objectives of the medical statistics. Now we will study the next one. That is the second point of today's class, is the types of the medical statistic. If you classify the medical statistics, it is divided into two types. One is the descriptive statistic, another one is the interferential statistic. Descriptive statistic, it means that whatever the data you are collected, that based on that you have to describe. That is the descriptive statistic. Describe and summarize the characteristic of collected data. Whatever the data already you collected, that you have to describe and summarize it. That is called as a descriptive statistic. does not draw the conclusion beyond the observed data. It means that whatever the data it is there, that much only we are here explaining. The mainly in this category it will come the mean, median, mode, as well as the standard deviation, table, chart, graphs. In this descriptive statistic it will come. The first of all, mean it means that the total number of the things divided by items, divided by item. This is the mean. Median means there is the middle value, and mode means the frequency, repeatedly whatever the number it is coming, that is the mode. We will study in the detail in the next classes. The next one, standard deviation, from the middle, how much it is dispersed the data, that we will study in the standard deviation. Table form, whatever the data we are collected, that we have to arrange in a table form, chart form, graph form. This is about the describing the statistical data. This is the descriptive statistic. We can take the average example, average age of the patient attending to the Ayurvedic OPD, how many average patients attending, that we have to assume. This is about the examples of the descriptive statistic. The next one is the inferential statistics. Inferential means assuming or predicting. Here simple meaning is that whatever the data we are whatever the things we are did on the samples, we are assuming that in the population, the small peoples we are collected the samples, we are, if the effective, then we are assuming that in the large population also the same effect we will observe. This is the inferential statistics. Here the draw the conclusion about the population based on the sample data. It means we are doing the research on sample data, but we are predicting on the large population. This is called as a inferential statistic. Here helps to statistic in the hypothesis. Why we are using this medical statistic? Because the hypothesis as well as the making the predictions. Next one uses commonly we are using the confidence interval as well as the hypothesis testing, like t-test. Very commonly for the comparing the two groups, we are using the common test, t-test, chi-square test, that is internal, that is the one group that is cured, not cured. We are comparing that also. We are using the chi-square test, more than two group ANOVA test, as well as the regression analysis test. These we are using. These all are coming under the inferential statistics. This is about the inferential statistic. Example is determine the whether Ayurvedic drug is more effective than the placebo. That is whatever the sugar pill is there, it is more Ayurvedic drug is more effective. That is the one of the example you can write as a inferential by using the inferential statistic. The next, our third topic is the scope and relevance of medical statistic in Ayurveda. What is the scope? Why we are using the medical statistic as a medical scholars, as a medical researcher? Why we are using? The first of all, the scope is the clinical research. For the clinical trial, when we are using the research for the patients for the trial drugs, if you are giving, then this medical statistics is required for the data purpose. That is the clinical research as well as drug efficacy and safety evaluation. Whenever we are planning for the drugs, whether it is effective or safe, it is not there, then the data we are collecting, the medical statistics help we are taking. The next one, epidemiology, that is assuming which Vataja, Pittaja, Kaphaja, which disease in which season it is there for the prediction, as well as assuming also we are using the epidemiology, the medical statistic, epidemiological studies. The next one, public health surveys. Why doing the public health surveys? In that cases also the medical statistics we are using. The next one, hospital administration. At the time of administration of the hospital, that medical statistics is required. The next one, medical education for the education purpose for the medical, that is we are using this medical statistics. Next one, quality control of Ayurvedic medicines. The mostly quality control, the good quality drugs we are preparing, that there also we have to using the medical statistics. This is about the scope of the medical statistics. The last topic of the today's class is the relevance of the Ayurveda. What is the necessary, why we are using this medical statistic in the Ayurveda? Because to provide the scientific validation of Ayurvedic principle and therapies. Because the provide, instead of telling that that Ayurvedic drug is effective, we have to tell that provide the scientific result, scientific validation of the Ayurvedic therapies as well as the principles. The next one, evaluate the effectiveness of Panchakarma, herbal formulation, rasayans. It means the simply before treatment and after treatment, what is the result it is there. Using the medical statistic, we have to evaluate. This is about the relevance of the Ayurveda. Next one, assist the clinical trials of the Ayurvedic medicine supporting the evidence-based medicine. Nowadays EBM is very common, evidence-based medicine for each and everyone. That is in the modern period that everyone is accepting the only evidence-based medicines only. By using this medical statistics, we are using the clinical trials of the Ayurvedic medicines. It supports the evidence-based Ayurveda by using medical statistics. The next one is the helps in the publications of the researcher and thesis. That is whenever we are doing the research for the MD or PhD, at the times without the medical statistic or without the data statistics, we cannot publish we cannot complete our master degree or as well as the PhD. This is the helps in the publication of the research and thesis writing for the publication in the journal. The medical statistic is required. The next one, improve the patient's care through the data-driven decisions. For the treating the patients also, we require the medical statistics helps to how the drug is effective or the patient care through the data. Based on the data it is given, based on that we are selecting the patient. This is about the today's class of the medical statistic introduction. Hope you understood the today's class. If you understood, please share to your classmates. Okay, like, share and